So Chris, what are you talking about change and challenges associated with change in the organization? There's a particular change that intrigues me, and that is the way culture is affected, especially in digital transformation, especially where some actions that some humans were doing prior to that transformation, or even, any sort of AI in the loop in processes or pre-existing processes. There is oftentimes you'll see a cultural shift or a sort of transition, positive or negative, and all sorts of crazy things can happen. So tell us about how that happened at Lebara, and has there been a shift in the culture, and how has the culture affected the shift, if there was or is one?
Yeah, it does. And I think there's a couple of things I can say about this. So I'll start perhaps more generically. And that is, when you're implementing any kind of change, going through any kind of transformation, my focus and my tactic is always what's in it for them, right? You need to appeal to how it benefits each individual, each group of people, each team. So that's really important as well, because typically most people do not like change. They know what they know and they're happy with that. It took me a few years in my career to realize that, because I thrive with change and I actually like to find things to change, but that's not the case with everyone. At Lebara more specifically, we've been going on a digital transformation for a number of years now. There's got buy-in all the way to the top, got funding, for a number of things over the last few years, including rebuilding our whole data platform, web, our app, our chatbot. All of those elements have gone through a transformation. So firstly, I would say that the people that have been hired at Lebara, including myself, we have a great core group of people that are very keen for change and collaborative in making that change happen. So I think you have to be collaborative to make change happen and then stick, right? The adoption piece, you have to make it collaborative, otherwise people won't buy in at the end. If you take people a plan and say this is what we're doing, they're not really going to buy into it. The second part, more specifically around let's talk about agents. Clearly, when you're doing something where the ultimate goal is to reduce the number of contacts you get, there will be people out there thinking, well, hang on, if I support this change, am I not in some way working myself out of a job in the future? So I think you have to show that you are trying to augment more than you're trying to replace, if that is true. We're trying to do a bit of both, and ultimately, yes, we are trying to reduce the headcount that we need to deal with customer queries. However, we're also growing rapidly as a company as well. So we might be reducing headcount per customer, but actually maybe we won't be reducing it that much overall, given that the growth that we're having. So I think that's a really important angle, is what's in it for the individual, show them how they can benefit from it, and allow them to ask questions on what you're trying to achieve. My view, I've talked to people about this in the past, touch v tech. So touch meaning speaking to a human agent, tech meaning self-service. I think the balance 10, 15 years ago was primarily touch. Now it should be primarily tech. There's so many queries that a customer might ask that we should be dealing with technology. If someone wants to check their balance, as far as I'm concerned, there is no reason for a human to be involved in that. But if someone has a complex query about their travel plans, or they want to cancel their contract a year before the end date because they're moving abroad, that kind of stuff perhaps still does need agent interaction. So it's about showing the agents that what you're doing is you're trying to take the more mundane tasks off them to allow them to provide more value to customers.
It seems like Lebara is sort of digital first or transformation first, generally speaking, and it sort of makes sense that the culture, the sort of pre-existing culture, would probably be in line with adopting change, especially in digital transformation.
Definitely. Certainly in the last few years, that's the case at Lebara. Probably not before that, but there's been a real concerted effort from the board down to make sure that we are a digital first company that's always looking to transform. Absolutely.